Live from the Cactus Creek at Ibri, he is the king of prime time, Ghana's undisputed entertainment laureate, and still the youngest old man in Ghana. Put your hands together, show some love for the indefatigable KSM.
The KSM Show.
Yes, that's right, folks. We're back again, man. And as you know, I tell you, man, I told you I'm coming from a very coded location, and I'm not announcing where I'm coming from, but all you need to know is that I'll be talking to some extremely exciting guests, man. My guest today, you know, occasionally I feature a guest that I say is on my C list. And you know what my C list means? It means captivating. When I consider my guests captivating, I put them on my C list. And today, trust me, we're going to be talking to somebody on my C list, man. This lady has done it all. And we're going to be talking about so many things she's done. But one quotation I've heard her say that I really love. She said, if you have a vision and a passion, you can drive that vision to any level you want. Wow, how true. And her whole life is like a living testimony to this vision, because she's really been able to drive her vision to an amazingly, exceedingly high level. I'm sure you've heard about Guba, right? And Guba simply means grow, unite, and build Africa. And there are so many aspects of Guba that I'll be talking to her about. But let me keep quiet now. Let me introduce her. Her name is Lady Dentaa. I'm wanting. Show something, Lady Dentaa.
Hi, KSM.
Welcome to the show. Finally.
Finally. Finally.
Yes. It's really good to have you. Yeah. I'm going to take a short commercial break. When we come back, let's talk about Guba, let's talk about you, let's talk about everything. So we're going to just take a short commercial break. When we come back, let the show begin.
The KSM Show.
Okay, folks, and from Hollard Life Assurance, we've been talking about the great Mibimbo. And I was going through some of the questions that people ask frequently about this whole Mibimbo product. And one of the questions is this: how do you add a beneficiary to the list? Because you know, I always say that if there's any accident, you are covered. Or if you have named the beneficiary is also covered. And people are asking, how do you name the beneficiary? Please just go through the voice prompts, and there's going to be a segment that's going to ask you whether you have any other person that you want to include, and go ahead and include the details. But like I always say, if you have any problems, you're better off talking directly to their agent on the hotline. The hotline is 0302 799 788. And by the way to access the Hollard Life Assurance Mibimbo product is simply having a Vodafone chip. Once you have a Vodafone chip, just insert the chip and dial *269#. And then follow the voice prompts and go through it, okay? All right, and you have the hotline in case you want to speak directly to a representative.
Mommy, I have 2 boys in my home. See, my leg is broken. The hospital bill, they are finished. My house money, all they are disconnected. So what for no money? You come and say it down, mommy.
Mibimbo life insurance and was some. A player to me, a dear year, a dear chance for my body, Ukofesca him. Me catch the book banku. With little money like 1 city. So when you are some dear, or catch him say, insurance dear. A big man talk. You just dial *269. No about hash. Where we?
Always is a chicken. It's a chicken.
With 1 Ghana cedi, 5 Ghana cedis, 15 Ghana cedis, or 30 Ghana cedis per month, you can get up to 30,000 Ghana cedis for funeral and disability cost.
Dial *269#
To sign up via Vodafone Cash today.
Wait, I'm not.
Mebambo, insurance made for you.
Located in the calm green hills of Ibury is Ghana's best weather.
And to make a reservation, we have some new numbers. And the new numbers are 0302 955 432 or 0302 965 460.
The best decision you'll ever make. Welcome home.
Also at Cactus, Wednesdays are called this pizza special. Charlie, we need a brief pizza on Wednesday at Cactus, then you haven't had the best pizza. And there's a special run, and if you buy one large pizza, you can get a second one at 50% discount. So let me see you there on Wednesday. Let's get some brief pizza, amazing Cactus Creek pizza.
Most of you are loving my jacket. Mr. Sao, I am if a rough. The jacket is provided by ASEPA Essentials. So if you want some, this is the number to call, 0209 059 215. So call ASEPA and get yourself a pretty decent jacket.
The KSM Show.
Okay, folks, welcome to the show, and we're back, man. And I have my captivating guest on the other side. This is really an international thing we're doing, man. I'm talking to her. She's in the UK, and I'm somewhere in California, and we're hanging out on the KSM show. Lady, welcome to the show again.
Thank you so much for having me, KSM.
It's such a pleasure. You have done so well, and I'm sure you know.
I've tried.
And even before we start, I want you, in your own words, I want to find out how Guba came about, and I'm very, very excited because way back then, when I was in secondary school, way back then, we're getting that, continental feeling of Pan-Africanism, and it all seemed to have died down.
Yeah.
But I think Guba is reviving it in an amazing way. Give me a little bit of a history about it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for having me on the show. It's an honor. I've always wanted to be on the KSM show, and I'm here. So I'm really excited about it. But, Guba started as an idea, as a dream. I was, in 2001, I think it was, I qualified as a pediatric nurse in the UK. So doing my nursing job. And then in 2008, so whilst I was doing my nursing, I was doing TV, acting, I was doing my own TV show, Dentaa show. And then in 2008, I had my first son. And in 2009, myself and my husband were sitting down watching TV, right? And we were seeing all of these amazing Black people in our community. It started off as Ghana. So we were recognizing Ghanaians in the diaspora that were doing well, and also Ghanaians on the continent, that were doing well as well. And I called up a few friends. I was like, guys, I've got this idea. What do you think? And they're like, yeah. So I called somebody that was administrator. I called somebody that I knew did marketing. I called somebody that I knew did, events, etc. And we just all came together. We had our first meeting actually in my house. And I was like, guys, this is the idea. I think we should do Guba. They were like, what's Guba? And I was like, at the time, I was like, Ghana UK Based Achievement Awards. I was like, oh my God, this sounds great.
Yeah.
Let's do it. And started planning a year to the awards, which we held our first one in October at the Portchester Hall, 2010. And it was sold out 3 weeks to the event. We had Osibi there, we had Asamoah Gyan, we had Castro, we had the BBC, we had Channel 4, it was just amazing. For our first event, it was incredible. Even though the journey of doing the event was difficult, because when you're starting out something, not everybody believes in your vision in terms of getting sponsorship. And we were stuck at one point. We had to sell our car. So one thing is that I always say to young people, when you're starting out your journey, and you really want to do something, you might have to sacrifice something. It's even in the Bible. A lot of people had to sacrifice something. Right? And so we sacrificed our car and invested the money into the awards to make it a success.
Wow. Wait a minute. So you sacrificed your car?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
And at the time, we had a child. It was difficult, but
what was the driving factor? What was in there that was edging on? So I mean, all the motivation. Where was it coming from?
Okay, there was several motivations. One was the fact that I wanted to inspire the young generation, and I wanted, that when we are putting out names in the community, like when somebody says, oh, who inspires you? It's not just Bill Gates, right? It's not just those names that keep coming up. Like, what about asking our people, let's be mentioning their names, because they matter and they are doing incredible things. It's just that they don't have that platform that, they are shown at that high level. And so that was what was motivating. And at the time as well, in the UK, there was a lot of knife crime with young boys, African boys, Black boys, just, stabbing each other, postcode gangs, East London versus South London, etc. And again, I wanted to pull them and say, look, we have great role models. Like, you can emulate this person. Look what this person's doing. And so that was like the motivating factor that us as Black people, we are doing well, in our different fields, whether you've been recognized before or not. And even when we did our awards, like, we recognized a 6-year-old girl that had written 2 books that was out in Amazon and shops and stuff. And this was a Ghanaian young girl. And again, not just the young girl's story being inspiring, but the fact that her parents were pushing her, and that also encourages us as parents to encourage our children when they have talent, right? So those are all things that, and I also wanted a platform where you can come and meet these people. Face to face, people that, you've never met before, you've heard their story.
And what excites me, sorry to cut in, is that Pan-African level or diasporan level, because you're not only looking at Ghana per se or anything. You're looking at all Africans in the diaspora and in Ghana. Where was that Pan-African?
Yeah, so as the awards grew, we had other, African countries knocking at, like, what about us? What about us? And some of these awardees that were awarding were working with some amazing people as well. And so we thought, so in 2019, when we launched, when we were celebrating our 10th year anniversary, we decided that we were going to change our name to Grow, Unite, Build Africa, because everything that we were doing what was actually growing, uniting, building Africa. With the enterprise, we have different things that we do. So we decided to, one, bring in our Black Americans, our African Black Americans that are in the US, that are also doing amazing things. Brought them in, and brought other African nations. We need to be united as Africans, right? And I think that, you know, that's what Guba is trying to do, trying to recognize our talents, trying to recognize our networks that we have, and that let's use that. Let's use our network to grow. Let's use our network to build. And so when we are recognizing people in the diaspora, we're also getting them to look back home at the opportunities that there is back home, because I feel as if for Ghana, for Africa to develop, we need our diaspora back. We need our talent back.
Right. That's right.
And that's how China was built. China, they made sure there was a call out for their diasporans, and that's how China was, you know, was established. And so I feel as if, you know, we have gone out there, we've got the skill set, we've got the knowledge, and we can partner and build with the people on the ground, because they also have knowledge and they also have expertise in that Africa environment, right? Because we're not used to that. We're used to a different system. And so when you're coming and bringing that skill and you merge with a Ghanaian or an African, we can build together. And so I feel that, you know, celebrating Pan-Africanism, and this year it being in, you know, Rwanda, where, you know, Kagame celebrates that. He's all for that. It's a great time to be doing the Guba Awards.
I'm going to go to Rwanda in a minute.
Okay.
But before then, you did some astonishing event on Ya Asantewa.
Yes.
You know, and I thought that was brilliant. Unfortunately, I wasn't in Ghana to come to that, but I was like, wow, finally, you know.
Finally, I felt that she needed to be celebrated in a big way. I felt that 100 years of her death, the woman who stood up against the Brits, the woman who was not only a mother, she was a politician, she was a farmer, she was a go-getter, she was a builder. She embodies a lot of the women that we see, African women that we see these days. And so I wanted to award her in a big way and remind people of what she did, because what she did is something that at that time, I would have thought no woman would have stood up, right? Because the Brits had guns and they had all of these things, but she was like, no, this is our golden stool. It's for us. It's not for you. Don't disrespect it and sit on it. You know, and she fought. And, you know, when the men didn't stand up, she did. And there are many successful women who have gone through challenging situations to get to the top.
Let me pick your brain for a second, Dentaa. The fact that we have these legends, these heroes or heroines who have done amazing things, and look at the kind of attention that we don't pay on them. You know, we don't give them that much attention. I mean, when you brought it up, I was like, this is fantastic. You know, probably nobody would have thought that 100 years later, it is important. Does that frustrate you that we're not?
Oh gosh, so much.
Yeah.
So much. It frustrates me so much. I feel as if we don't celebrate our legends enough. We don't celebrate our legends enough.
Why is that? Where do you think?
I don't know, because like in the UK, they celebrate every single legend. You see them in the museums, they always talking about it, you know, and it's just painful that, you know, we are not doing that as much as we should, right? And so for me, even with the Nana Yaa Asantewaa Award, it's something that we're going to be continuing with. So it's going to be every 2 years. We're going to, you know, honor women that represent Nana Yaa Asantewaa. And, you know, when we wrote the letter to our nominees, when our board picked out the nominees, some of them said they were really emotional reading about Nana Yaa Asantewaa. For them, it was, you know, getting deeper, because we wrote about who that woman was. And they're saying that you represent that woman. You are a Nana Yaa Asantewaa. You're a force to be reckoned with. And so that is history sharing. That is still continuing her legacy, still remembering what she did. And so that was really important to us. And we're going to be continuing to honor her legacy.
Like every 2 years, there's going to be an event on it? Wow.
Yeah. So next year, God willing, we'll be doing the Naya Santua Awards again.
That is absolutely fantastic. And what I notice is that you're not only looking at Ghana, you're doing these things internationally. It's like you're putting Africa on the global level in terms of our heroes, our legends that we need to celebrate, and you are sort of internationalizing it.
Yes.
And telling the world, look, these are our heroes, and come join us to celebrate them. Rwanda is an amazing, how did Rwanda come about?
Yeah, so Rwanda came about at the Guba Awards, the Naya Santua Awards. I had the ambassador of Rwanda there, Dr. Aisha, Her Excellency. And after the awards, she messaged me and she was like, how and when can we get Guba Awards to Rwanda?
Wow.
Because she was just blown away by the attendance, the type of people that came, how we delivered our awards, the production, everything. She was like, this is incredible. And I need this in Rwanda.
Wow.
And it was actually two. We had Philip, who was who's representative for Barbados, and he messaged me the same thing. You know, he was like, how do we get this to Barbados? You know, but Rwanda, Dr. Aisha was just really quick at the game. Or I found myself in Rwanda a couple of weeks later, you know, and visiting venues and all of that. And that's how it came about. You know, they were very passionate about bringing the awards there. They saw the vision straight away, and we just had to make it happen.
That is fantastic. That is fantastic. It's almost you've raised the Guba event to a standard where every African country who wants to be associated with it and say, yeah, this year it was in our country, more or less.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's the goal now. That's the goal now.
So Rwanda is the 29th, right, of September?
It's on the 29th of September.
And it's called Ndabaga?
Yes. So Ndabaga is another Rwandan legend. She's a female as well. So she's one of the amazing. She's like a Nanaya Santwa in Rwanda. And her story, when you read the story, it talks about, you know, Ndabaga being the drumbeat of legends and dreamers. And for me, that when I read it and I saw that particular line, I was like, this is it.
I love it. Is it the drumbeat of legends?
The drumbeat of legends and dreamers.
Wow.
You know, and you know, when we discussed it as a team, we were like, this just represents so many incredible people, not just female, but men as well. And so that's the theme that we chose. We are recognizing amazing people on the continent, in the diaspora, bringing some of them home for the first time. So one of the people that we're recognizing is the Grammy CEO, the Grammy Awards in the US, everybody knows. It's the first time for him on the continent. And he is super excited to be coming to Rwanda. And when you think of the Grammy Awards, that's a whole different level, right? And for us to even be able to get him to come is
a big deal.
Great. Yes,
that is
great.
A big deal.
It's great. And you know, we're recognizing this 13-year-old girl that's been accepted into medical school. Medical school.
Where's she from?
She's from Texas. She's African American. And I remember when I called her parents, I managed to get their number. The mother was crying.
Wow.
She was like, I cannot believe you're going to celebrate my daughter on the continent, where she's from, where her ancestors are from. So it's, you know, it's a great story. It's a great story. And we are recognizing people to encourage others. Like, she's 13. She's the first Black young girl to be accepted into medical school at the age of 13, not 20 something or 13 years old.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Like, and she's Black. And I was saying to, you know, my colleagues that if she was probably white, this noise would have been so much. Would have been, even though she was featured in a lot of the news, but I feel as if she would have got more presence. And so we want to make sure that we recognize her at that highest level for her.
But that for me is so amazing. For one, for me, I have a weakness for people who go out to celebrate ingenuity. So for you to focus on Africa, where traditionally the celebration has been non-celebratory anyway, is about the hunger, it's about the poverty, it's about the deprivation, it's all about the negatives, and you are highlighting that, no, we have some amazing positives here. And that's what our focus is on.
Yeah, and I think that, there'll always be negatives around, right? And there'll always be people digging out for the negatives. I tend to stay away from negative things that are happening on the content, because it will be reported by somebody. So I want to concentrate on the positives, the beauty of Africa, and getting our people back together, the oneness that we should be, and I've been even talking about the fact that us as Africans, we shouldn't be having visas for ourselves as Africans. Like, you should be able to go to an African country and not need a visa. Just like the EU have been was established, the fact that they're just like, no, if you're from the EU, if you're there, come into the country, because it's difficult to actually travel in Africa, right? Just amongst ourselves. And so I really wanted to push that agenda as well. It's important that we look at the positive things that is happening, and the people who are trying to change the narrative, and let's celebrate them, let's encourage them to do more, and let's let our young people know that we have great role models out there.
We do, and I like it, because what is really happening, what Guba is doing, is that you are actually forcing us to think and change the narrative. Who would have thought there would be such a mighty celebration for Yaa Asantewaa on her 100th? Nobody was even thinking about that. Who else do you have in mind? Let me focus on Ghana for now. Are you particularly looking at women achievers, or is it like generally every legend is a legend? What's your...
Oh, no. So the reason why we're focusing on Nana Yaa Asantewaa's story is one day I want to see Nana Yaa Asantewaa's story in the cinemas. Like, she needs to be at that level, a Spider-Man level, Batman level, that type of movie for Nana Yaa Asantewaa.
I hear you.
And because it needs to be told. It needs to be told. And so we are focusing on that. Not that, what we do in the Guba Awards actually is that we've named some of the awards after people. So just to continue in promoting our legacy of people who have gone before us, and the work that they have done for us to be able to be here to continue that legacy. So we will be honoring and celebrating other legends, but Nana Yaa Asantewaa is something that's key to us.
Understandably.
Yes.
Understandably, yeah. Well, Dentaa, we have coming to a point where I have to take a short commercial break. When I come back, I want to go back a little bit into who you are. What makes you tick, and why. What drives Guba in you to come out? It must come from a particular stock of thinking or upbringing. I don't know. But we're taking a commercial break. When we come back, we'll get into that. Folks, we're taking a commercial break right now. And as soon as we come back, the show will continue.
The KSM Show.
Okay, folks, and from Hollard Life Assurance, we've been talking about the great Mibambo. And I was going through some of the questions that people ask frequently about this whole Mibambo product. And one of the questions is this: how do you add a beneficiary to the list, because I always say that if there's any accident, you are covered, or if you have named the beneficiary is also covered. And people are asking, how do you name the beneficiary? Please just go through the voice prompts, and there's going to be a segment that's going to ask you whether you have any other person that you want to include, and go ahead and include the details. But like I always say, if you have any problems, you're better off talking directly to their agent on the hotline. The hotline is 0302 799 788. And by the way to access the Harlot Life Assurance Mibambo product is simply having a Vodafone chip. Once you have a Vodafone chip, just insert the chip and dial *269#. And then follow the voice prompts and go through it. Okay? All right. And you have the hotline in case you want to speak directly to a representative.
Mommy, I have 2 boys in my home. See, my leg is broken. The hospital bill, they are finished. My house money, all they are disconnected. So what for no money? You come and say it now, mommy.
Me Bambo life insurance in team and was some. A player team, Adiachi a year, Adiachi swan body, Ukofeska wahin. Me catch the book banku. With little money like 1 city. So when you are from here, or catch him say, insurance dear. A big man talk. You just dial *269. No about hash. Where we?
Always is a chicken. It's a chicken.
With 1 Ghana cedi, 5 Ghana cedis, 15 Ghana cedis, or 30 Ghana cedis per month, you can get up to 30,000 Ghana cedis for funeral and disability cost.
Dial *269#
to sign up via Vodafone Cash today. Me Bambo, insurance made for you.
Located in the calm green hills of Ibury is Ghana's best further.
And to make your reservation, we have some new numbers. And the new numbers are 0302 955 432 or 0302 965 460.
The best decision you'll ever make. Welcome home.
Also at Cactus, Wednesdays are called this pizza special. Chale, we need a brief pizza on Wednesday at Cactus, then you haven't had the best pizza. And there's a special running. If you buy 1 large pizza, you can get a second one at 50% discount. So let me see you there on Wednesday. Let's get some brief pizza. Amazing Cactus Creek pizza.
Most of you are loving my jacket. Mr. Sao. I am if rough. The jacket is provided by Africentric Essentials. So if you want some, this is the number to call: 0209 059 215. So call Africentric and get yourself a pretty decent jacket.
The KSM Show.
Okay, folks, you're back. And I'm beginning to think that you are starting to get a sense of why I find her captivating, man. She's elevating the narrative of Africa to a different level. And I love it. I love it. And she's celebrating what is worthy of celebrating on the continent. And she's doing it on a global level. It's not just Ghanaians or Africans, it's about Africans in the entire diaspora. And that's the angle that I love so much. Lady Dentaa. Yes. This, where were you born? Where is this coming from? There must be, I don't know whether it's upbringing, the education, something that has inculcated this inside you. What do you think it is?
So I was born in Jaso, Asante Achim.
Okay.
I left for the UK when I was 5. And so did all my education in the UK. But I think that I thrive off, I'm a positive thinker. I like positivity. I get very sad when people are talking about Africa or Ghana in a negative way, especially us. It kind of started off the diaspora. When we're in the diaspora, we think that, Africa should be a certain way. And, but then you just leave it as that. What else are you going to do about it? And for me, I wanted to make sure that I'm also back on a continent, putting my hands down on the ground. I have 4 children. My children are now in Ghana schooling, and making sure that they learn the culture. We shouldn't forget our culture. We shouldn't forget our heritage, where we're from.
So it was a conscious decision to send them to Ghana?
Yes, 100%.
How old are they?
14, 12, 10, and 5. Yeah, I wanted to make
Ghana now.
Yeah, they school in Ghana. And I wanted to make a conscious effort for them to learn and appreciate our country and the continent. Even when they were growing up, I always made sure that they have Ghanaian names. I didn't give my children any English names. I thought that it was important that, when somebody's calling my child Nokware, they'll be like, where's that name from? It's from Ghana. That is more PR.
What are their names?
So Nokware, Adansie, Enijie, area. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Awesome.
Yes. And when you look at Nigerians, right, they have Adebola, whatever, and it means God's grace or God's goodness. And they are so proud, they are so patriotic. And I think that we need to be more patriotic when it comes to the names that we give our children. Let it be Ghanaian, let it be from us, because you won't see an Obroni with a Ghanaian name, unless those type of people that really love the continent, which is there's some of them out there, but you won't find that. And we are naming our names, we're giving our children English names, and I don't think that is a positive thing. I think we need to be giving our name, our traditional guy, whether it's just Akusia or whatever it is. Let's be calling our children those names. And I think fundamentally that's how my parents brought me up. They were like,
that's good. I was going to ask about who are your parents and what kind of upbringing, because you seem to have a certain level of Ghanaianization even in your upbringing.
Papa. They were. My mom and dad, Kofi Boateng and Ekwejiwa. That's my mom's name.
They're all in Ghana?
They at the moment they're in the UK, but they're going back to Ghana. My dad retired, and he's in Ghana. Oh yeah, he's actually Jasahine in Jaso.
Okay.
So he's over there. But
so you're royalty, basically.
Yes, I am royalty. And see, when I was growing up, I remember my mom and dad were like, in this house, you don't speak English. You do this, you eat your Ghanaian food, you do this, you wear your Ghanaian. They were very, culturally, we had to be Ghanaian. So when my friends came to the house, they are eating jollof rice, they're trying fufu, they are Ghanaian in the house. They were all like, when you go out, you can English accent, to me, Aka French, whatever it is, you could do that. But in this house, and so that was very grounding for me. And I think that's how I still kept my Ghanaianness in me. And from a young age, I remember wearing African prints and stuff, or having my Ghanaian chain. Like, looking back at old pictures, I see that. And that was all from my parents. They really made sure that, the three of us, my sister, my brother, who are behind me, I'm the firstborn, all spoke Chi. and all, you know, knew how you greet an elder person, how, you know, they taught us all of that. And so that's how I think I've been molded to and how I'm molding my children.
When I read about you and I see everything you're doing, that comes to mind, you know, what kind of upbringing, because it has to have some roots somewhere in terms of the way you think, you know, this whole Pan-African cultural outlook that you have. So now I understand much better why, you know. So Guba, and I know Guba, they have a foundation, you have a tour aspect. Give me a little bit of the branches of Guba.
Okay, so we have the Guba Enterprise, which is like the mother company of all of the other things that we do. So we have the Guba Foundation, which looks at supporting families living with autism, which is a big taboo. We've done infant mortality, because in Ghana, every 15 minutes, a child dies because of a lack of incubator, or there's like 5 or 6 children, premature babies in an incubator. And so we raise funds to buy incubators to different hospitals. We also do education. So we pay for a lot of school kids, school fees, and also go to rural areas and build and give them tables and chairs that they don't have in the schools. So that's our foundation. Then we have the Guba Diaspora Network. So the Guba Diaspora Network is a network of diasporans who are trying to move back home or trying to do business in Ghana. We support your transition. We support you through that, because one of the things that I mentioned is that when you don't know anybody in Ghana, you struggle, and that's the frustration of many diasporans that come. Whether it's buying land, they get frustrated, they get ripped off, and then they're just like, I can't deal with this, right? And so we set up this organization to be, we will deal with that for you, okay? You just relax, right? We will deal with that for you so that you don't get too frustrated and leave. We've supported people to buy houses. We've supported, even like people have asked, how do I get a good chef or a good nanny? You know, so we do the vetting, we do all of that for you so that you just come and invest, you come and work. And, you know, some people want investment opportunities. We've hooked them up with, you know, SMEs in Ghana who are into agriculture. Some of them are investing, and it's just giving the diaspora the different options that they are, because we're not very good at giving information in Ghana, like, or Africa on the continent. Like when you Google, like, how do I get information? How do I find a job? How do I this? It's not very centralized. And so we've been able to pick up that. We've gotten people into jobs, resettled them, etc. And then we have the Guba Expo, Trade Expo, which is about promoting made in Africa products onto the continent. We had an event in the UK where we had Tesco's, Asda, ASOS, Body Shop, all come to the event to see how we can source our products into the UK market, because as we know, in Ghana, we import so much, right? And so for us, it was like, okay, how do we export what we have so that we also generate income? And then we have the Guba Careers, which looks at the diasporans in the diaspora who are looking for jobs, particularly jobs in Ghana.
I've seen some postings that I saw something you posted about this hospital. I think that's something put together, quite impressive.
Yes.
You know, and I saw you appealing to Ghanaians in the diaspora, doctors.
Yes, doctors, nurses. So we do work experiences. We did that with about 7 NHS nurses a few years ago to come and work in hospitals in Ghana. And recently, the interview that you're talking about, I interviewed the Banahine twins who have built a hospital in Spintex. And I wanted to pull in some of the diaspora nurses and doctors to come and work there, even if it's just for holiday or whatever, but you know, sharing their experiences and expertise, and also building capacity for those doctors and nurses in Ghana as well.
Well, folks, I mean, let me go through a few of, as we talk, you know, some of your awards and accolades. You know, I know that at one point in this year, you were one of 10 female trailblazers in the area of tourism on the continent. 1 of 10. That's amazing. I know that you are among the top 100 CEOs in Africa, the CEO women in Africa. That is absolutely fantastic. I also know that you are one of the 100 most outstanding female CEOs, and the list goes on and on and on and on. And accomplishments endless. And I see your MBE, and I was thinking, is this like a degree master's in business enterprise, or she's actually a member of the British?
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, like MBE, master's in business enterprise. No. On the other hand, maybe she was honored as a member of the British Empire by the Queen. Tell me a little bit about this.
Yeah. So again, that was a big honor for me. That happened in 2016 on the Queen's 90th birthday, where she announced a list of, people that she was going to honor and give them their MBs, OBs. So I'm the member of the Excellent Order of the British Empire. And it was through my work that I do between Ghana and the UK. The trade missions that I've done, the work celebrating the diaspora. And for me, it was shocking, because at the time, I think we were only like 5 or 6 years into the work that we were doing. And every time I saw an OB or MB, I felt like it was like older people that have done it for like 30
That's very true.
years,
That's very true.
And so I was never expecting that. Even when the letter came, I was like, do they have the wrong name? Like, are they letter normal? Like, I just didn't know who they were addressing that letter to. Right. And that just showed me, and I always say this, that you don't know who's watching you. And so always do good, always do what you can. Right? Because you are impacting on somebody's life. Somebody's looking at your post, somebody's looking at what you're doing. And so it was a great honor. And for me, it was a contribution of all my team. Guba is not just me, it's a teamwork of people who have come together, but I'm the face of it, to put in the work. And so even though my team don't have the MBEs, they are part of that journey for me to be able to get the MBE. And I appreciate my team so much. They have been with me since the inception of Guba.
Wow.
And I can't thank them enough for being able to support me to this level.
Well, let me join you to commend the team, because when I look at the events that you organize, when I wasn't at the Yasantua thing, I've seen the footage, and it's world class. It's the organization of it is top notch, is world class. So I can only believe that you have a solid team behind you.
Too much. I always say they're my backbone, because you can't do anything without your backbone. Yeah. And so they have really pushed, when it comes to brand execution, everything, even put me on my toes. And just making sure that we deliver excellently, because we want to be able to have our own Grammys, our own Oscars at that level, and command people from all over to be able to experience it and still add our culture in there, which is important, which makes it different. So, I love them so much. My team are very special to me, and it's because of them that we're here at this moment in time where I'm being interviewed by KSM.
Okay. So you're getting ready to go and shake up Rwanda?
Yes.
And the team is, you've sent an advance party there to set up stuff?
Yeah, so they will leave the beginning on the 20th to Rwanda. We've already done, we've been to Rwanda a few times already, so we know exactly. We're working with a team there as well to help us execute. So it's exciting. We're very excited about it, that we're able to do it in Rwanda for the first time, and then see what God will do after and see where he takes us the next year as well.
I'm particularly impressed that you were invited because somebody from Rwanda saw what you did with the Asantwa thing and says, we need something similar in Rwanda. That is what impresses me. That's really, really, really. Where have you been to Rwanda? You've been doing it in the UK, you've gone to the US?
Yeah, so UK, US, Ghana, and now Rwanda. So, and like I said, Barbados is knocking on the door. One of our friends that is in Uganda who's coming, she's like, Dentaa, if you do this in Rwanda, Uganda need to have this as well. So we will see what God does. But we want to definitely continue moving it around the continent, around the globe.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I was talking about earlier, that you've risen it to, taking it to a certain level that now countries are competing, you know, once your country hosts the Guba, it means yes, you're bad.
Yeah, because, you know, it's not just an awards. We are bringing important people to the continent. We are inviting the diaspora to it. One, it promotes tourism, economic development, right? The opportunities that are in your country that could possibly get investment. So it's not just an awards. Even this, we're having an investment forum the next day. And so really it's impacting on Rwanda. There's going to be a tour that people are going to go on, you know, go and see the gorillas and all of that. So people are spending. So even if you have 150 people and people are spending $3,000 or $4,000, that's huge economic benefit to the country. And so these are things that we're bringing to the table. We're not just, you know, coming to do an awards, but it's an awards that is bringing the diaspora back home to your country and the possible investment opportunities and the expenditure that they're going to be doing on the ground. And so the jobs that we are going to be giving the people on the ground when we are there for those, you know, 2 weeks that we set up and do the awards. So I think, you know, there's a lot of benefits for countries who want to host Guba.
And quickly, you know, because I know you were very active with the year of the return.
Yes.
And then there was Beyond the Return. How far have we gone with Beyond the Return? Because that was one area that can be so explosive in the diaspora, you know, that whole concept of the return. And then I saw Beyond the Return. Is it going to continue? Can you give us updates on Beyond the Return?
Yes. I think, you know, the year of return was massive, and it was so massive that I don't think the government was actually ready for it. It was something that, you know, 400 years of, you know, slavery. It's been 400 years since the last ship left, you know, Jamestown in Washington, and, you know, the president inviting people to come back. And it was incredible. We had everybody in Ghana during the year of return, everybody. And then, you know, COVID struck as soon as we launched the Beyond the Return. And I think now is when we're trying to kind of revamp it and bring it back to life, because, you know, COVID is still around, but we're trying to move the Beyond the Return to the next level. And I think that it's an encouragement to diasporans that you can come back. So there's different pillars that the Beyond the Return have. A lot of people are looking at the resettlement of them, like moving back, you know, how do they get citizenship is one of the big areas. People are looking at, you know, just even coming to do like foundation things, right? Giving back, that's another pillar. So I think there's loads of pillars for the diaspora to look at. And there's going to be a lot more that the diaspora Beyond the Return committee do go moving forward, entering the diaspora market. So doing a lot of events, conferences, and kind of engaging the diaspora on, you know, what they want to do, etc., and inviting them back home as well. So I think that it's a great way to bring back home, bring our people home. And because we were distracted a little bit because of COVID, but we're going to be grinding very, very soon on that.
Fantastic, fantastic. The very, very last thing I noticed, I just have a minute. I've talked a little bit about your kids. Who's the man? Who's the man?
Oh, who's the man? Who's the man? Yao Ejari is the man.
Okay.
We've been together for a very, 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 very long time. And he's my soul brother.
Fantastic.
First and foremost, we are friends, and he's somebody that believes in the vision. He's the creator of the visions, and I'm the pusher of the vision.
That's fantastic.
And so, you know, he's always there, supporting and cheering on his wife.
That is amazing. You know, I mean, to have both of you with that vision and the drive to grow, unite, and build Africa is not it's every agenda.
Yeah.
So congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
That I'm so glad I had a chance to chat with you. There's so much we can talk. We didn't talk about sports. We didn't talk about.
I know. Asante Kotoko. Oh my goodness. We won the league. Oh, I hope you are a fan. And now, who do you support?
Who do I support?
Actually, don't say it. If it's not Asante Kotoko, don't say it.
So, in the meantime, but look, you're doing great. You've done fantastic, and I'm sure we'll engage again and talk about a different aspect of the many, many, many things that Guba is doing, and especially a big up to the man and to all the children who are supporting Mommy in such fantastic cause. And hopefully I'll pass across again. I can't be in Rwanda, unfortunately, but I promise you that your next gig, wherever it is, even if it's Iceland, remember.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you too. Thank you for the time, and thank you for joining me. Okay, folks, you had my amazing chat with Dentaa, and I told you she's on my C list. I find her very captivating, and I'm sure you did too. So we're going to wrap up now, and until next week when we come back, KSM signing off as I always do, folks. We are out of here.